What's up guys, I'm Dave Klein. Today we're going to talk about one of the great souls and major influences over the land of Drangleic. And no, I don't mean the Duke's dear Freya, but rather the Duke himself, Tseldora. I think it goes without saying there will be spoilers. So with that said, let's begin. Tseldora was the residing Duke over the Brightstone Cove, and as such it was named after him, Brightstone Cove Tseldora. The residents and settlers of Tseldora who came to mine wore the Tseldora set, which recalls Tseldora's glory days and the peak of the Brightstone boom. The mines were named for the bright crystals which lay there, and the hollowed settlers who remained seemed to range in their status and class. At the top of the mine resided the farmers and miners, clearly of lower status as they set up tents to live in and returned to when they finished their work. They donned the peasant set, commonly worn by peasants, normal workwear, more fit for farming than fighting. Deeper in the mine was a full settlement. However, those who lived there would be the most affected by the eventual infestation. Tseldora resided in a lower chapel, a major building built around his Brightstone discovery. At the base of the chapel resides the Lord's private chambers, a small archive of books and knowledge. Tseldora seemed to be fascinated by learning, and in particular, spiders. His chapel doors are carved with spiders, and the Duke himself was an eccentric soul fascinated with spiders. The eccentric Lord Tseldora, known for his fascination with spiders, built a town and a personal fortune by mining Brightstone. One day, the town was overrun by spiders, but Lord Tseldora only stood by and watched, eerily contented. So what exactly happened in the deep Brightstone mines to cause such a horrendous outbreak of spiders? As the mine became deeper and deeper, an ancient fossil was uncovered, that of an ancient dragon, and one which contained a great soul. I believe it was here Tseldora truly started to lose his mind. I think it's possible, and this is speculation, with the discovery of this alcove, Tseldora also discovered the Pale Drake's soul. I believe the Pale Drake's soul started to become one with Tseldora, and he took on properties similar to Seath of Dark Souls 1. According to the Pale Drake's soul, this once magnificent soul continues to exert influence over the land, even after the eons have reduced it to these remnants. He built a private study next to the ancient dragon, and similar to Seath, he became enthralled in his research, losing his mind.
Men develop the most peculiar fascinations. Sometimes their fascinations seem to take control, till there's very little man left. Oh, it's like that awful traitor long ago. He coveted what he did not have, and it drove him mad. What a curious conundrum. The writhing ruin keeps searching as we speak. Searching for its heart's desire.
Within Tseldora's study, a broken-through cage can be found. I think it's possible this is where the Duke's dear Freya was kept, before it was giant. I realize a cage like this isn't the most practical way to keep a spider, but looking closely at it, it seems like something broke out, and I believe, given Tseldora's nature, a spider makes the most sense. According to the Spider Fang, a sword obtained by trading the Duke's dear Freya's soul to Ornifex, supposedly the Duke himself, an eccentric soul fascinated with spiders, went on to take a form that was far from human. I believe Tseldora infused the Pale Drake's soul and a part of himself into the spider, giving Freya its size and power, and thus beginning the spider infestation. A hollowed-out shell of his former self remained to roam the study, and Tseldora only stood by and watched eerily contented. So long as Freya is alive, we see spiders constantly coming out of the ancient dragon's mouth, and this continues during the entire boss battle with Freya. The infestation of spiders only stops with its death. It therefore seems that this creation of Freya was the start of the plague of spiders that would haunt the Brightstone Cove, and eventually cause the genocide of the entire village and campsite. The spiders burrowed deep into walls of the village, feasting on the villagers they would find. Within Freya's domain, amongst the massive spider webs, hundreds upon thousands of bones and skulls can be found on the ground, clearly indicating this was where the spider's victims were taken as food for Freya and its children. The fools that venture into Tseldora unaware of the ancient deeds that still haunt the cove are transfigured into unspeakable malformations. While the undead peasants above the cove avoided the worst of the atrocities, within the cove resided the elite citizens, indicated by their dropping the Tseldora set as opposed to the peasant set. These elite citizens' remaining corpses became the playthings of the spiders. The spiders attached themselves onto the corpses, puncturing their victims' mouths with their pincers, and literally used them as puppets and a shield. Now there are some other connections that need to be discussed. The first being Vengarl of Ferosa. What is his body doing near the primal fire beyond the Lord's private chamber? When Ferosa fell to war, its citizens were left landless and entirely to their own devices. Many were reduced to thievery, while Ferosan knights scattered to other lands as sellswords.
I was born in Ferosa, a land in the distant east. When I was born, we were already mired in prolonged conflict with our neighbours. Eventually, our kingdom fell, and our people scattered. I've been a sellsword ever since.
I think it's simply possible at some point Vengarl came under the employment of Tseldora. What do you guys think? The other thing to discuss is Man-Scorpion Tark. He sends you on a quest to kill his master and rewards you after defeating the Duke's dear Freya.
What skill? You've defeated my master. But our master never dies, and he changes form so that he may seethe for all eternity.
He was created along with his betrothed, Najka, who was born of the misdeeds of an ancient being, a frail soul from the beginning that soon succumbed to madness.
We once had a master. He created us long, long ago. But he was born with a fatal flaw. He resented those who had what he lacked and became fully mired in hatred. Eventually, he drove himself mad. It was at the peak of this madness that he conjured up we strange creatures. Our master was a tragically lonely soul. Eventually, his solitude eroded his very reason. In the end, he never understood what it was that he truly lacked.
I believe it's heavily hinted that their master and creator was Seath from Dark Souls 1. It's also implied, as I discussed in my Dark Souls 2 story video, that the Duke's dear Freya and Pale Drake's soul were once the soul of Seath, but now it has been reborn into Tseldora and his spider Freya. And one final note for you guys. I've been pronouncing Freya with a soft J, as opposed to Freja. In Norse mythology, Freya is the goddess of fertility, an interesting connection considering it seems Freya is the cause of the spider infestation in the Brightstone Cove. But when it comes to the name, typically Freya is the proper pronunciation. Alright guys, that wraps up this Dark Souls 2 lore video. This video has a little more speculation when it comes to the sequence of events, but I wanted to share how I view the overall story of Tseldora and Freya. If you have different interpretations, I'd love to hear. If you missed any of my previous Dark Souls 2 lore videos, make sure to check them out for the story and info on the locations surrounding Drangleic. And I'll see you next time. Peace.